you to stay the fuck away from me too, but I guess you didn't hear that part, huh?
I heard you. I heard you loud and clear, but then you stuck your tongue in my coos and fucked me so hard, I figured you changed your mind.
Keep your voice down now. It's not exactly how I remember it.
Oh, it ain't. Remember falling asleep with your head on my chest? Leaving in the middle of the night without a fucking word?
Mary, I'm going to hold your sweet, delicate little hand when I say this to you. You're white. You're white. At least white passing. The way you showed your behind in this movie, I ain't like that. I didn't like the way you socialized and interacted with the black people in this movie, specifically Stack. You put yourself and their lives in danger. And I want to talk about it because I have thoughts. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Tamara and this is Delightfully Chaotic. Thank you. I want to first say that there might be spoilers in this video. So if you haven't seen the movie Sinners, where have you been, first of all? But if you haven't seen it, please like and subscribe and come back after you've seen it and we can talk about it and chop it up. But if you have seen it, stay tuned because I have some thoughts that I wanted to share about this woman because I ain't like that. Overall, I thought the character was great. Aside from the fact that she seems completely oblivious to the fact that she was white presenting, like she was a white woman in the eyes of 1930s Jim Crow South. And she put a lot of people in danger. So I have thoughts about that. Let's get into it. So Mary, again, was white passing, as we all know. Her grandfather was half black. So she would have been considered black based on the one drop rule, right? In those times, she would be considered an octoroon. Back in those times, an octoroon was considered a person that was 1/8 black and 7/8 white. An octoroon is not a term that's used in the here and now of things because it's considered a slanderous word or it's considered an insult, just like mulatto would be considered an insult. We'll get to that later. But there were different classifications that white people placed on mixed race black people. There was mulatto, there was quadroon, and there was octoroon. The word octoroon isn't just some outdated insult. It was an actual legal classification in the 18th and 19th centuries, meaning 1/8 black, 7/8 white. In practice, it meant you had one black great-grandparent, and depending on your looks, you might pass as white without question. But these labels weren't neutral. They were part of a whole system built to rank people by skin tone: mulatto, quadroon, octoroon, each rung supposedly closer to whiteness and therefore privilege. So she's an octoroon and white passing, as we've already discussed, and just the way that she moved, the way that she was introduced in that train station scene when she walks up to Sammy and she says, "Boy." I did not like that. I didn't like that. Why are you calling him boy? You're basically black. Why are you calling him boy? Why are you doing that? I did not like that. Like, again, assuming that she grew up around black people, and I'm just assuming that she grew up around black people, she at least grew up around them because her mother nursed them when their mother died during childbirth. So her mother nursed them, took care of them, fed them, clothed them, gave them a roof over their heads. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you should know better. You should know better. You should know that you can't just walk up to this black man at this train station and talk about your coos. If that conversation were overheard by a white person, it could have been a 6-year-old little white boy. They know that black men aren't even supposed to look at white women, let alone have that kind of conversation. Both of them would have been killed. She would have been killed because she was actively participating. She was white passing, and she was actively participating in that sexual intimate discourse or dialogue with this black man. She would have been killed as well. And that was the main reason that he was pushing her away. I watch a lot of reaction videos, and when this when this was available on streaming and people were watching it in real time, I really enjoyed watching the reaction videos. And I was watching reaction videos from all different races, black, white, other, people of color. And the one thing that irritated me, and it was mostly non-black people of color and white people, when she was introduced to us in that train station scene and they had that dialogue with each other. Actually, before that, when Sammy goes to Stack and says, "There's a white woman looking at you," Stack immediately tenses up, he gets nervous, and if you're not thinking with like your mind, you would be thinking on a surface level, like, oh, he's nervous, it must be one of his exes, he seems like a playboy, he's probably like, he doesn't want to get put on blast, but it's like, also, it's 1932 Mississippi. So it's Jim Crow, right? So even though it wasn't, I don't think it was a Jim Crow law at the time, but it was definitely frowned upon, and you could actually be hurt and or killed as a black man for even looking in the eyes of a white woman. So when Stack is telling Sammy to not look at her, don't look at her, go over there, he's protecting his cousin because he knows, and Sammy should know too, he knows that it's really dangerous for them to even be looking at this white woman, i.e. Emmett Till. But that was how insanely, ridiculously just racist it was that a black man couldn't even look in a white woman's direction. So the fact that you walked your ass up to this black man at this train station, firstly calling Sammy boy, again, didn't like it, walked up to this black man at this train station and proceeded to have that conversation with him, and he's telling you, lower your voice. He's looking around, he's nervous. He looks like he's about to shit his pants, because why are you talking to him in broad daylight at this train station? And honestly, in reality, in real life, I really feel like someone would have seen them and they would have questioned them, like, why are y'all talking? What's going on? But of course, it's a movie and it is what it is. I did not like that. I did not like that. And I didn't notice it the first 2 times that I watched the movie. Again, I didn't notice it until I started watching the reaction videos. And the people, and let me get back to my point because I think I lost it. The people that were reacting that were white and or other people of color, when he told Sammy not to look at her, it was almost immediate every time. There was this nervous laughter or this like casual laughter, like, ha, ha, ha. Oh yeah, don't look at her. Like making these little jokes, and I'm like, yo, y'all don't really understand why he's telling this young boy not to look at this white woman in public. Y'all really don't understand that. Like, I know when it comes to Black history, a lot of it was swept under the rug. A lot of it just wasn't talked about. But it's like, y'all didn't learn anything in school? Y'all didn't learn anything? He was telling Sammy not to look at her because it was dangerous, because Sammy could have been killed, he could have been killed, and that was the reason. There was no other reason than that. No other reason than that. So yeah, the way she was moving, I didn't like it. I didn't respect it. It was really frustrating. And yeah, of course she'd be the first one, right? That white privilege. She would be the first one to go. Of course. She was walking around just as brazen as she wanted to be.
Excuse me, boy. Is this here smoke? Or is this Stack?
And I didn't like it. I think I already mentioned that. But yeah, like, it was careless. It was selfish. I really didn't like the way she handled herself and the way she just seemed so unaware and oblivious. To me, I just assumed that because she seemingly grew up with these 2 individuals, Smoke and Stack, that she was brought up around Black people, that she, well, for one, you don't even have to be brought up around Black people to know the dangers of that time period for Black people. Like, even as a white person that never even socialized or had Black friends, you knew the dangers of a Black person in that time period. So the fact that she was just so careless about the way she communicated with these people, it really pissed me off. her background and her storyline kind of comes together when she's speaking to Sammy at the bar, when he asks her, "What are you?" and she says, "I'm a human being." Jokingly, she knew what he meant, but she's like, "I'm a human being." He's like, "No, I mean, what are you?" And that's when she explains that her grandfather was half black, and he raised her mother to keep the Klan from killing her. That I'm a little confused on, because if he raised her mother to keep the Klan, first of all, that's your daughter, so who else was gonna raise her? Just like slave owners back in the day, like, you had these children through rape, more than likely, and some of them didn't even consider these children that they sired or had with these rape these slaves to have as their children. But a lot of slave owners did take these children under their wings and raise them in their families, even if they weren't completely treated equal. So my thing is, who else was gonna raise her? But so when she said that, I'm thinking, was her mother black presenting? Because she had to be, if he was raising her to keep the Klan from killing her. That didn't really make any sense. If you understand that, or maybe you can shed some light, drop a comment below, we can talk about it. But that's when we are introduced to her storyline, is when she's talking to Sammy and she's pretty much explaining how she even knows who these individuals are. Apparently she's aware of who Sammy is, but he must have been too young to remember her. Then we are introduced to Stack in the juke joint, and the contentious, dialogue that they had there at that time. He didn't want her there, and he was purposefully pushing her away at the train station and at the juke joint to keep her and everyone else safe. Mary, I wanted to root for you. I wanted you to understand the stakes of the world that you were living in, and at the end of the day, your story just reminds me that white privilege without awareness is really dangerous. White privilege without awareness is very dangerous. You played a very dangerous game, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna let your hand go, and I want you to think about this moving forward. If a fictional character could do that, that's what I would tell her. Do better, girl. If white women ain't gonna do nothing, they gonna have audacity. That's my rant about Mary from Sinners, and it could be a little bit more polished. Trying to get my feet wet with all this content creation stuff. If you have any suggestions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please like if you liked the video and subscribe for more. Thanks. Bye.